Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. We got lots of news, lots of catalysts. Hopefully, we can outperform today on a couple trade ideas. So let's jump right into first the indices. SPY, QQQ, TLT, UUP, ARK to track the major indices. And wow, SPY and QQQ's come back a little bit, but look where we are. All right, let's see. SPY down here below the 20 DMA. Look at this support level right here. That's a low of 390.14. It's nice if we can stay above that level, 390.14. That's a key level I'm looking at on SPY. And then QQQ, key level I'm looking at as the low is over here, 279.17. If we can stay above 279.17, that'll be good. But you do have your 277 at the 50 DMA. You know, longer term, we got issues. We have CPI Tuesday. We have FOMC Wednesday. If we're going to get a big move down in 2023, re-rating because of earnings recession, that's going to be led by Apple, I believe. So we take a look at the Apple chart, and we see we're below all the key major moving averages, and the 200-week moving average way down here at 113, 114. So that's like a big picture downside perspective I'm keeping in mind. Now, another thing I've been telling you guys about Credit Suisse, and I didn't know that Blackstone also had issues with redemptions on one of its funds. This has happened over the last several days. Blackstone's down like 30% in a month. So something to keep an eye on, because to date, what we've seen has looked very much like the dot-com bust, especially in ARKK, and even the chart very similar to the NASDAQ chart we're looking at right now, to the NASDAQ chart in 2000 through 2002. So this was driven by overvaluation. Back then it was tech stocks, and here it was growth stocks. So we went through this cycle of excess and overvaluation, which mirrored 2000 bust. And then what happened? Then we had the financial crisis 8 years later. We had the financial crisis 8 years later. I feel like we're seeing the same thing happen, but on an accelerated timeline, potentially, because this is why I want to keep track of Credit Suisse and Blackstone. Early signs of some sort of contagion in financial assets that can trigger some sort of the next leg down in the bear market. Just a possibility. Keep it in mind, okay? But there's the silver lining is there's pretty much universal bearishness in terms of recession and earnings re-rating coming, and pretty much everyone is like another 20 to 25% down possible in major indices. Like, I don't know that I've heard anyone say anything different. And that either means it's not going to happen at all, or it could happen very fast in a flash crash if everyone's on the same page. So that's what I'm thinking right now. And honestly, it really doesn't change my playbook. I'm trying to find stocks that are re-rating themselves based on catalysts and fundamentals, inflection points in the chart, things like that. It's a hard task in a bear market, but that's what I like to do. So, all right, going down to individual stocks, lots and lots and lots of news. I forgot to talk about Tesla. Let's look at Tesla first. The 200-week moving average down here. What was the low? 166 was the low when we called it. We're right on the money there. And then the 200-week moving average rising a little bit since then, about 166.50 or so, once around there. So let's just call it 166 is that 200-week moving average. So that's your support level down here. Man, I hope that holds. I'm like a Tesla bull for the first time in my life. Not the first time, the second time. I was down there long time ago when the thing first broke out. It went over $100 before the splits and everything. I was a bull like for a month or two back then. So now I'm a second time. I'm a Tesla bull. So let's see what happens. All right, let's get into specific stocks. Lots and lots and lots of stuff to talk about. First, I know we have the Clearfield interview today at 4:30 p.m. And look at that timing. Clearfield did an offering last night. I'll get to Spruce in just a second. Clearfield did an offering last night. It's 10% dilution at $100. We talked a lot about it in our community. It's a bullish raise. They're making lots of money. This is to fuel their growth, obviously. So from that sense, it's good. But, I'm not happy with the price. So whatever it is, but we'll talk to CEO Sherry. Forget her last name. Sherry's her first name. We'll see. We'll talk to the CEO Sherry today at 4:30, and Chris Tarbert will help us with that interview. You can see here if we go to the we talked about that 20 DMA support and the 20-week MA support, very similar, and it's overshot a couple times, and we talked about the possibility of it overshooting, and it did. So I expect this to hold 100, and you can see it's holding 102 now. So I'm not even sure we'll get to 100. The deal was obviously oversubscribed. It was upsized to $120 million from $100 million initially, with some options to 10% dilution. So I was a buyer yesterday with this news at like 104.5 or something like that. And I'll probably be a buyer today. So let's see what happens with Clearfield. Okay, man, lots of news. Where do we go first? Let's XXII. We interviewed the CEO at 4:30 yesterday. There's no recording on it. All I can tell you is it helped to really solidify my conviction on XXII. All right, I'm not going to share anything more on this particular video because this does go out to the public at 4 p.m., but we can talk about it in the community if you're interested. If you were not there, I gave my thoughts in one of the rooms, but we can always hash it out again today. I really like the risk reward on this. I think it has 5-bagger potential in 2023, even in a bear market. So really excited about this, and I have a large position in it. All right. Where do we go next? Let's go to Air. Air, finally, it looks like, if you look at this press release, it looks like that second major customer is now officially confirmed. And on StockTwits, people are saying it's Wolf Semiconductors. So that's great news. I picked some up here at 22,250. The stock's been down significantly the last few days. Let's look again at the market for a second, QQQ and SPY, because I think this will be impacted by the overall market today. But I did pick some up here at 2250 for trade. I already have my long-term shares, not touching that. But I think the timing was nice here because we had this. If this was at like $27 and this news came out, I tell you, I'm not sure. If I'd like to enter at 27, maybe it's all baked in. But with the big move down the last couple of days, I was willing to take a risk on this. I know it's in between the 20 and the 50, but it's done that before. Like you can see right here, it's dropped below the 20. Let's look at the weeklies. All right, the weeklies, wow. The weeklies were riding up this 20-week MA for a long time, not even touching it. So I don't know. If you look purely at the technicals, right, you can say, hey, the downside there is at 2050. But this news does look very significant. So I am going to stick with this trade at 2250. I'm looking for a move back above the 20 DMA, around 2478. So 25 to 26 would be my target for it today. We'll see what happens. It's obviously a risk in this market. Is it priced in? Maybe, because this was already, forecast by Gain Erickson. He told us it was coming. So we'll just have to see. But I'm taking a risk there, 2250 with a target of 25-ish today. That's Air, and this one tends to have violent moves in like the first 5 opening minutes. So you might get your exit right there in like the first 60 seconds. So I'm going to put some limit orders in and see if I get lucky. All right, man, where do we go? Spruce, SPRC. Now, I haven't talked much about this because I haven't done the fundamental research on this, but I've owned this. Started buying some at 105, 106. Finally in the green here with some news out, some study data, positive study results. This one also, they recently met NASDAQ compliance. Remember, there was huge bidders at $1 holding the price at 1. That was one of the reasons why. But this thing has tended to have a couple high volume pops in the past. But the base off of which this news is coming is higher than the previous pops. So the previous high volume pops got it to 159 over there. It got it to 145 over here. Here's another one. It got it to 155. So because the base is higher than the other ones, I'm thinking this pop could take it to 150 to $2 today. But this is also something that, based on the past behavior, based on all these other pops, it just sells off all day long. So I'm going to be looking to sell in the morning, in the first like half hour or so. Probably I'll put some limits in for like 145 to $2, something like that. But if it doesn't work, I'll want to be out by late morning, just because of the past history of this thing selling off all day long after great news. So that's the story with SPRC. All right, more news. Oh my, wow! Look at MBLY. Oh my, MBLY, big volume. Look at that bid. Did you see that? Look at that bid, 24,600. Anyway, MBLY beat and raised. I've been saying for a while, this is a stock you want to hold long term. This is a stock that's going to have a sentiment premium, very popular with institutions and traders, and it'll be like one of the popular, sexy growth stock names, and they're profitable. So MBLY, you can check out their earnings report, but taken off this morning with some big bids. Very interesting to see. I did finally pick some up for my long-term account that I'm just going to hold. I'm not going to be trading that. So could it be good for day trades today? Sure. What's the 52-week high here? 33.39. So 32.70, definitely. It's in the cards to be testing at 33.39. Maybe this is something, if you have a big intraday pullback, that may be buyable with an upward bias because of the great news coming out of MBLY. We have more news. Can you believe it? LIACF, LICF. So this is one lithium stock that's been on our radar. And I liked it because they also had uranium. And now that's fundamentally coming out to be a benefit because they're spinning off their uranium assets. So now this news obviously leaked yesterday. It went from like 140 to 166 in the second half of the day yesterday. So that's sad. Someone knew about it. But anyway, 166 this morning. I might actually take a stab at this because historically, how are you going to value this? It's very hard for me to value. I think lithium and uranium very much move on sentiment, especially these early exploration companies that aren't making money yet. So historically, you take a look at where the stock has been, all the way up at $5. Now it's at 166. And I just think, there's potentially more room to the upside. So maybe it can make a swing move to $2. So I will be interested in, I do have some long-term shares of this, by the way, but I'll be interested in trading this today on pullbacks with possible targets of, I saw 175 hit too. Yeah, look at this. You got resistance at 175 also. So 175 and 2 will be the two target levels on LIACF, but I don't really want to chase. We'll see if there's pullbacks and stuff. And so we can get those exits. I'm going to write that down because LIACF, so 175 to 2 targets. All right. Okay. What else do we have? Oh my gosh, lots of news. INMB had some data that came out yesterday. Don't know how important this data is. I did post it in the INMB room. We're waiting for people to get feedback on that, so you can take a look at the INMB study data. Just a shout out, kudos to Julian, who gave us GIII a couple nights ago, and my fault for not highlighting it on the show yesterday morning. There was a big insider buy after this big earnings drop over here, and that ended up being a nice timely alert he had for us both in after hours 2 nights ago, and then it continued going up throughout the day yesterday. So this is a key level to look at, 1362. It's either going to get rejected there, or if you break that, then you're into this big gap. So that's going to be interesting. If it can hold 1362, this could potentially have dollars of upside somewhere into this gap. So Julian, thanks for telling us about GIII. CANO Health, I ended up selling because I was deep in the green. It got rejected here at the 20 DMA. Now it's pushing it down, but I'm watching this very, very closely because my targets are the same on a buyout rumor, which is 250 to 330. And that's a significant percentage move. So I'm going to be watching this. If there's no buyout rumor and we bleed back down towards the lows, I'll look at the technicals and look for another signal to get back in. So CANO, keeping that at the top of our watch list. FREY got an upgrade, or no, wasn't an upgrade, maintained by Credit Suisse. Outperform. I think they lowered the price target from $19 to $18. So a little bit of adjustment there after that big dilution they did. What was it? $264 million. That is a big dilution. So a little bit of a drop in the target price from 19 to 18 from Credit Suisse. That's the EV battery maker. I'll be keeping a close eye on that. I own it long term. Oh, man. So much. CTLP, very strong relative strength yesterday, holding on to its gains. This one really stood out yesterday. Has an excellent chart on the daily 2050 bullish cross. They have a analyst day on Monday. And this one, I'm looking at a 425 target based on the 20-week moving average and a very low RSI. I'm still very bullish on this. This is like one of the only stocks throughout the last 2 days where the market's been shaky. One of the only stocks I haven't wavered on, and I was still excited about throughout the day. Yes, when it was red, I put out there CTLP is performing really well because it really held these gains nicely. So CTLP looks really, really solid. 425 is my target on CTLP. CTMX, a little bit of action. Is there news here? All right, let me just check here. So let's just check real quick if we got anything since we started. Look at that. Calyx, Public Company of the Year. That's a competitor to CLFD. And all right. So that's all we got this morning, which is a lot. So today, Clearfield, we're going to see how this stock interacts with the $100 price, which it did its offering at. We're going to talk to the CEO at 4:30. We're going to see if we can get a nice exit out of SPRC at 150 plus, I hope. And we're going to see if AIR can pop to 25 plus. We're going to see what LIACF does with a possible 175 to 2 target. MBLY, great news, big bids. We're going to see if that can be a viable trade on pullbacks. LIACF, another one. Did I talk about that? XXII. I'm really interested in this. After that interview yesterday, things are looking good. So I'm excited today. Lots of good news on individual stocks. I think we got like an information edge on a lot of these stocks we just talked about here today, an understanding edge. So we'll see if that can translate into outperformance for us today. All right, guys, good luck. Thanks for joining us. If you're not a VIP yet, you can, well, you're seeing this too late, but if you happen to see this at 4 p.m., you can become a StoryTrading VIP to join us at 4:30 on Zoom with the CEO of Clearfield. And that recording will be available the rest of the week to VIPs as well before we publish it on YouTube next week. And I will see you guys in the rooms. Good luck. Lots of great stuff today. Let's collaborate closely.